What is value? Yeah, that's an awesome definition of leadership. Taking somebody from where they are and where they need to go. And if you do that, it's certainly valuable. Good. In the land business, what do they say about value? Okay, so it's value over quality and cost. And some people say service and cost, or quality and service. But you want your service to be quality? So let's say it's all quality over cost. What you're getting versus what you're paying. Name a person or organization that creates value. How does Kirkland's give value? Yeah, they're trying to get the quality equal to name brands, and then there being this other brand, right? And it's really Costco, right? Yeah. Any other example? How are you creating value? Okay. Help bring calm and clarity, right? Minimize the noise. That sounds like calm, kind of. Yeah, and clarity to the situation. Good. Here's what we're going to do today. This is our objective, okay? To be able, when we leave today, 45 minutes we can get this done, Tom, I think so. To be able to create value by understanding what God values and the needs of people in order to solve for what's most valuable. And here's the diagram. We like these 2x2s for these competencies, because who wants to be unconsciously competent in creating value? You're unconsciously competent at breathing. John's unconsciously competent at dribbling and oscillating, and then just knows right before he hits the floor, he can flip it up there one more time. Pretty cool. But to us to be unconsciously competent at creating value, Winston's exactly the way you said it. I want to do it, and then I got to get in a rhythm of doing it too. But to do it is to know what's most valuable. What's the supreme valuable thing everywhere? Jesus. He is valuable. God is valuable, but preeminent. Yeah, we want it. He's a person. We want to value the person above all things of God. And then, what he did there is here to create value. You could argue it's the most value created ever. Okay, and we're going to really play this out today on a matrix that's perfectly informed by the greatest commandment. If God is most valuable, we love God. And then he says to love people. Too often in situations we think, what can I get from it? When I'm worrying about what I can get, I'm extracting value. Now that's appropriate for a value trade-off in things. But when I see the situation as what I can get, we can tend to extract value over producing value. Jesus said, not considering a quality worth God something to be grasped even, but humbled himself, finding himself in human form, became obedient to death, even death on a cross, so that salvation, that's the method of salvation, is this way. Okay? So life-changing value. So we're going to fill this matrix out by the end of the day, and you'll really understand buckets of value for organizations. This is an investment strategy. I'm answering this for entrepreneurs. That's why we went to New York to see all these redemptive entrepreneurs on display in like Shark Tank settings. But how do they define value? How can we define redemptive value over just extracting value? Okay? And by the way, the greatest companies in the world, they existed this way. Even Apple started this. They started certainly on what can they provide. They certainly started on this axis, and because he's willing to lose nickels all the time, he wasn't somebody extracting value. It was a company trying to give value. Okay, but some things are valuable.
I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well.
You've been given inherent value. We'll hit this quick so we can really get to it. Inherent value. Before you knew yourself, you were really valuable. You're made in the image of God. Whew. That's valuable. He said, I'm so for these people that we're making them just like us. Let's make us in our image. Crazy. I mean, that's worth contemplating all day long, all Saturday.
The Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it.
Take care of it. Subdue and rule. You see in 26, 27, 28. Subdue and rule over it. Be fruitful and multiply. create value, co-create with me. That's what I want you to do. I want you to be a co-creator. I want you to name things. I didn't tell you what to name them how you want to name them. Organize how you want to organize them. It's all yours, all before the fall. This is work, creating value.
For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality and accepts no bribes.
Awesome. Preeminent. A little Christmas in April. Wait a minute. Joy of the world gets this verse right all the way back to Deuteronomy. King of kings, Lord of lords, very God of very God. There's nothing higher. There's nothing greater. I want to, all day long, I'm working with him and for him. He's my greatest partner. No matter how big of an organization or how small of an organization I work with. And all things are through him, all things are for him. Everything is from him. We learn that for sure. And then he's awesome for sure. I think you throw this, he shows no partiality or accepts no bribes. Where does that come from? Isn't that funny? He's above all payoffs. He already paid for everything. I can't we've all had this prayer. We'll admit as teenagers, okay? You don't have to admit that you had it this week. But oh God, it's will you get me out of this? This is looking pretty bad. I'll do these things if you'll get me out of this. You can't make up for it. And that's the glory and the awesomeness of it. I can't pray so many prayers that I get out of it. I can't repent so much. I can turn and go the other way when I realize it's covered. It's completely covered. One of the things at this redemptive conference where they kept saying, it's all house money. And people say, well, that guy can do that because he has such a backstop. You got the same backstop. We all have it. He's not paying off. He gave it to you. It's already done. It's credible. He's got it, okay? And the graph looks like this. God above all things, and there is separation to humanity. It's a little bigger than we can graphically demonstrate. We can agree that God's supremely valuable above all things, and that he values humanity, Henry, Winston, Michael. He values y'all the most. He loves you more than you love yourself. He values you more than you value yourself. And that on the selfish spectrum, you can't value yourself more than he values you. Okay? So know that. That's part of that contentment we're about to get to. And then creation. We are not separating creation here. And I've offered some pushback to this, like animals to water and the sun and all of creation. We're just putting it all in one bucket. Certainly there's another gap between humans and the rest of creation that God created, which is the most creative act that ever happened, and the biggest investment act we'll cover in a second too. But I think it's all there, okay? And those are the order when we think about these things. And this is about to be on the matrix, so, any questions about that? Okay. Now we got a verse.
Godliness with contentment is great gain.
What's God telling you through Paul? Instructions to Timothy, which he then says just in the next letter, find others who will teach the same. What's godliness without contentment? Grasping. Yeah.
Fear.
Fear. You create fear because it's religion. And religion itself is a discipline, just like working out. Religion's a discipline because there are all sorts of religions, yes? Good ones, bad ones. Those who lead you to Jesus, and those that lead you straight to the pit. So it's a discipline, but even the Christian with religion, if I'm religious and not content, what is that? Jesus is rough on religion. Really rough on it. Read it. Over and over. You clean all this stuff up, you get all this stuff just right, you work on the outside of the bowls, but you don't worry about the inside of the bowl. It's an analogy, but they really had to clean everything a certain way and not touch anything. Remember, he went to Samaria. Those of you in the devotional this morning, he had to go that way. He had to get dirty religiously to meet somebody. Okay? All of us, everybody, has had this even yesterday. Maybe hope not this morning. Just leave those phones down for another 30 minutes, and you won't have any. But no contentment. Like we've had trying to do the right thing but not content, restlessness. And he's bringing us into it, and he keeps going.
For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that.
Good. And since I got plenty of shirts, and my refrigerator's not empty, I can say that about all of you. Then my daily bread is him and word, right? What's the most content you've seen a person? Now, you might have a stage of life. It doesn't have to be, I saw Bob one day this way. But like, what's the most content stage of life that you see people in? And so calm. So calm. By the way, happiness and contentment goes up after your 50s. And then Harvard did this unbelievable study that actually for some, it goes so high, it goes off the chart high, and then for others, past their 70, it goes off the chart low. So it's actually people who know who they are and know why they were here, and it goes super high, off the chart content. So that's one. And you got another stage of life? That's good. I think it's true. It's in the verse.
I don't say like a kid with an ice cream cone on a hot day.
Yeah. Until he wants the next one. So, maybe it's 6 months, but Roland wants another one fast. Yes. Okay. So Mike's had the last baby in here, I think. We're going to pick on Charlie. I really had all this set up. But what about that? A baby all swaddled up. Who can think of their babies like this, or held their nieces and nephews this way, or their cousins, all swaddled up? Maybe after nursing totally full, they purr like a cat. You can feel them, and they're just totally content. They're totally content at where they are. There's a lot they don't know, but they're totally content. Brought nothing into the world. And see, it's happened in every session. Somebody said a baby, and somebody said either and you brought nothing in the world, you're going out, and all this in between is striving and fruitless if we're not content. Get content first. That's 24/7, 365, the invitation to come in and be content. That's what he's offering all the time. And what he says in Easter, we're about to celebrate, when he breaks through in the resurrection into the upper room, he says, peace be with you. He's giving you peace. My peace is with you. He wants you to have peace before you go out and do good work. He wants you to be totally content and at peace and know he's with you. They were sheltering in place. They were pretty scared. And he first just have peace. And then he redefines their purpose, and then he gives them power to go. All that really matters.
Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs.
Who've seen somebody pierced and in grief over a bunch of nickels? You've seen somebody go the wrong way. What's this verse saying? Is it saying money should not be touched? Let's say what it's not saying. No. Does it say money's evil?
Love of money.
Okay. What does that mean? And that, by the way, that's what the context here is. What is false teaching, and why do people false teach? And people false teach to gain money is what Paul is telling Timothy. What if your pastor did it all for money? What would you think? Yeah. Are pastors tempted around money? Or to make sure that the church stays stable? I'll tell you what, Jesus never had a money problem. Never had one. Not ever, not once. Never had one. Can't find it. But what would you think if you knew his motivation was money, or hers? Now, here's what Ronnie Stevens says one time, the first time he ever taught here, so it's about 3 years old. Why do we criticize a pastor for taking more money to go one church to another, but wouldn't do that to ourselves in jobs? Who here is a minister of the gospel? Are you with me? Okay, let's keep going. Content people trust God for provisions and resist the urge to unnecessarily extract from others. Instead, they use what they have to create values for others. The ways in which we can collaborate and create value with others is unlimited. And the more I'm content, the more I'm creating value. And we think it looks like this. The greatest value, the axis of values, knowing what's valuable, God, people, creation. Those are things I want to consider. Does this give value to the things that are most valuable? Does this reflect back? Does this create value this way? And then, since my chief end is to do it for people, to give glory to God, is it functional? Is it emotional? And is it life-changing? And everything that's valuable is in those boxes. And this is what we've defined coming back from that redemptive conference. And then there's this great article. Don't try to read this. I'm just going to explain it 2 seconds, and then we're going to break it down. Some Bain consultants who wrote for Harvard Business Review. It's a 8-year-old article. It was written in 2016, but kind of breaking down everything that is valuable and how businesses can create value for others, how people can create value. So let's look at it real quick. The functional level. Okay, you with me? We're going to go across this thing. Functional, emotional, life-changing. Okay. Functional would be saves time. It makes money. Money is at a functional level. It allows us to exchange. It's not evil in itself. It allows us to make exchanges and allows us, it's the way we transfer value the most around here, whether electronically or otherwise. And electronic money is even more functional because it saves time. And it's more secure in some ways. Reduces risk. You insurers. It integrates. It gets people together. It connects. It reduces effort. It's easier. That's why we like Amazon and the other things y'all said about value. It avoids hassle. That one's there again. It reduces cost. Boy, Amazon's hitting all 3-4 of these boxes so far, aren't they, Luke? That's a free biscuit. Quality. It's good. We get the right stuff. They do it the right way. That's what Wade said about Chick-fil-A. Variety. Amazon hits another one. Sensory appeal. They got plenty of stuff that has sensory appeal. Things that look good have value. Yes? Good looking shirt. It informs. It's informative. Generative AI informs. Yes? Okay, those are functional things. And then emotional is a higher level. And look, some of these functional things can do these emotional things. You make emotional connections with your customer when it really matters. Reduces anxiety, rewards me, nostalgia, design aesthetics. Goes from looking good to I really feel at peace at this place the way it's designed. I like a house when we're looking for houses, and we do this several times. I like one with the east window. I like to be able to get up and see the sunrise when I'm reading my stuff. It's design aesthetic that affects me emotionally and spiritually. Badge value, therapeutic value, wellness, fun, and entertaining is emotional. Attractiveness is emotional. Yes, Daryl? I think so. And provides, have access, that's emotional. Then life-changing things provide hope. This is Harvard and Bain saying this, okay? Self-actualization, motivation, heirloom, that's kind of a handed down. I feel like I'm handing this thing down. And you can think of that can be tangible things and intangible things. Wes just lived this way. Affiliation and belonging, I'm part of this. Those are transcending things. And of course, this is based on Maslow things, so self-transcendence. So which means I finally know who I am and what I'm supposed to do. Who knows who they are and what they're supposed to do? Well, 2 people shout it out.
Child of God.
And what am I supposed to do?
Make disciples. Make disciples.
Make disciples. Love others. Love as you've been loved. Every way you want to say it. Yes, I've been covered. I'm paid for. I'm His. He loves me. He values me. Now He says, go and do likewise, and you'll find even more value in your life. We've used this framework of excellent work, blesses others, leads to Jesus. And I just want to say, we're not contradicting that. We're staying at the same level. Excellent work is functional. Emotional work is blessing people, and then changing people's lives is there. So we're going to give examples real quick to that. And by the way, we got in boxes, we're suggesting that there are levels of value. Okay? If it is function and cares for the creation, it's a 1. If it's functional and cares for people, it's a little more valuable, yes? If it's functional and emotional and cares for people, it's even more valuable. And most of your days are this, yes? If you do a really good work for the client and you interact with them, Taylor, right? They've made can't believe y'all solved this. You made my day. That's emotional. You made this better for me. So most of our work, that's that functional blesses people. We're trying to get right to 3. Most of the things we're working on to say, is it doing both these things? A functional thing that helped me at a 4 would be an iPad. I have dysgraphia and can't take notes and listen at the same time. So when I finally had an iPad and could take notes, it changed my life. Allowed me to do things. Looked goofy there in the front row of church taking notes in an iPad early on. But it was changing my life to be able to keep those notes that way. So that's functional for me and is in a green box. Maybe it should be a 4 orange. Maybe you could argue that. Just keep it orange. Because in all things of God are 5, 6, and then 7, perfect number. It's functional, it's emotional, it's life-changing, and it leads somebody to God. This is a matrix how to make every investment decision of nickels, of time, of space, of what to do today. I'm suggesting the way to think about everything is in here. That's pretty bold. And here's some examples. So picking up trash by myself, but that is a functional and it helps creation. And if I take my buddy with me, he can entertain me. It gets to 3, I can teach him to pick up trash. That's leadership. And we pick up, and if somebody sees it, oh, that guy cares. And now an example. Functional, good thing for people would be GPS. Very helpful to get around the world. Functional to God would be what I'm talking about, like a window in a house. It helps you, that you think, encourage you spiritually, or the way a church is designed, or many other things. It doesn't have to be just in the religious realm. And then emotional, for the creation. Anybody a Greenpeace person? You ever meet the whales you saved? So on an emotional level, I'm being a little funny, but like you're caring for creation. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I'm caring for creation, but it's emotional for me. I don't. It creates level. Does that make sense? But if I'm entertaining somebody, it's at a 3 level. Roads cut through the creation are life-changing for people. Connected people over the place. Helping somebody move your investment decisions, where they had more or less, helping them move up in any way can be life-changing. You're trying to move from that 3 box for your clients to life-changing. The promise of the Cancer Institute is to make life-changing things for people, to move their health up that way. Yes? Yes? And then that 6, if I'm emotionally connecting with somebody over Jesus, all the better. And then if you're helping me life-changing. But don't you see how 3 is the box we play in the most, but you see how it's directive, I do it well, I can get to Jesus this way too. So it's a way of doing things. It's the way he did things. He met their functional, emotional needs. You'll be able to walk. I'll give you dignity. He gives dignity, he gives access, and then he says, come on and follow me and be life-changed. So, but this, I'm suggesting the way to play out how to prioritize your day is certainly what you signed up to do at the institution. So you can't, if you're supposed to sell space, you still have to sell space, you have to introduce people to space or find a new job. But even within the organization, now that this is my job, what are the things I'm working on there doing these things? And I got to do the functional excellent work. I got to push the paper and analyze the numbers to get it all the way out of here, or I don't. But I'm trying to do that in time to be able to get to more. This other person seems super stressed out. I'm going to help them by the end of the day. Does that make sense? Okay, I have an example. I can prove it. This awesome company called Procure Impact has been named by Fast Company, is one of the leading companies in in social impact, but they're creating real impact in a real industry. I'll just say it this way. In the last 3 years, 100,000 hours of people who are at-risk populations, special needs, like think about the kids at Madonna, are making things. Women who've been trafficked or been in a slave industry are now making things. Populations who never had anything to make in Africa are making things, and populations in Denver who've never had anything to make are making things. So taking communities where there's under-resourced and having people make things, and she wants to get 1 million hours. And she has all sorts of investors in this thing, for sure. And the business model is kind of this: a margin on products, margin on membership fees, and because a big company, say like First Horizon, can also sign up to all their employees of the month across the country can get these rewards this way, so they have fees there. But mostly they sell to the hospitality industry, almost, about 80%. And Four Seasons buying candles for them. and chocolates. And Davidson Hotel Group, which just is a large conglomerate managing a lot of Hiltons and a lot of Marriott properties like Courtyard. Also, there's a brand called World's Finest Hotels, which that's part of it, and there are 2 or 3 things that sound like that, so I could be slightly off. But one in Denver is now, she's convinced them that your DEI initiative is one thing, but it's all just talk in times. And your volunteer hours are okay, but what if you were buying things and your whole organization is buying things that's actually changing part of Denver? They're actually literally buying things from people in Denver that's making a difference. And I may have the story slightly off, but like, what if your initiative really is to change the world and they're buying it from her? They're saying it works. Let's fill out the grid. Here's what's happening. It's all past functional and creational. At the very least, they're buyers whose lives are changing. They're actually buying it. Employers, investors, legitimate people, but most of them are in 3. But the truth is they have, based on this system, value chain they've created, they're people in all the boxes. But the employees are all being discipled and hear about Jesus. Okay? So they're all top box, at least as an aim, but they're not putting religion on anybody who doesn't want it. They're just doing a great job at 3. And by the way, it's life-changing for them. Here's why it moves to at least the 4 box for buyers. The hotel industry is notorious for kickbacks. And she's basically saying, we're doing good. Now you got a whole department paying money to, like I said, do DEI or to do volunteerism. What if we can't give you a kickback? Our margin's only 22%. What if we're not going to pay it? But what if you see this? What if you get this? What if your budget for these other social initiatives goes straight into here and supports it instead of your kickback? And she's changing the way the hotel industry's taking kickbacks. So it's in that sense, that moves them to the green box. So we're no longer going to require kickbacks to do business with us. But she wants to be on the even playing field. And then here's just what's true, okay? It's what Simon says all the time. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They know if you're trying to create value for them or not. And it has to be for all stakeholders. The investors have to get more value. But what if we can talk them into buying land that's life-changing for the community, buying land, and talk them into sounds a little too much, but what if we can show them a better way? That this land is going to change for this family, this generation, instead of what investment, but could do this for the world. Why are you so focused on the world? Well, let me tell you about who's focused on me. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They know if you're content or not. This is Simon saying this, but it's true for us. They know why you're buying this. They know why you're involved in this. They know what you're doing. And here's what she says. The chocolates still have to be the very best. I might convince them to not do the kickbacks, but for 4 seasons and this elite hotel in Denver, it has to be the best chocolate still. And she, as they expanded and got bigger and bigger, they had production problems, just like our little friends at Siete. And the chocolates melted one time. And so she had to give all the money back. So so just because she's doing great work with underserved populations, she still has to provide great chocolate. So she gave it all back. And now she knows how to make, they fixed that part of the production process, and the chocolates now remain covered and in great shape. So I still have to do good work. That's really the answer across the board. I still have to actually provide value to all stakeholders. Buyers, suppliers, investors. Who's going to have a meeting where you can think about what is functional for that person? Are we adding value for the other side? Are we emotionally, at the end of this conversation, are they going to be better off? Who has this conversation today? We all should. Find one if you don't. I know what I want from it. But remember, I'm extracting. If I'm only getting what I want, I'm going to be fine if I'm doing good value for others. I'm going to be fine. It'll come. There's no great value that's not getting a return or what it needs to have. So if I don't need to think about that. I'm thinking about the value for them functionally, the value for them emotionally, in this 20-minute conversation you got planned. Yes, and with all your assets, I would say put them in this grid. All of them. You have a lot of assets, by the way. And they're not just cash. And they're your time, they're your resources, they're your talents, they're everything. Put them in this grid, but I'm going to have a 20-minute version of this today that I can practice what's their functional need, what's their emotional need. Could this turn into a life-changing conversation for them? It could, because you know what? A representative of Jesus Christ is the one talking to them. Someone who's been sent to make their day better. So, what are you going to create next? That's what I'm asking you to think about. We'll expand this a little bit more next week. Father, you're so good to us. You made us fearfully and wonderfully, image of God. We're going out here to meet with those you've also made in your image. Help us to break it down for them. Help us to know you're with us, for us, guiding us. You're guiding us perfectly, and help us to receive what you're guiding, and be content with what we have and what you've done for us. We could make a list and we could fill it out all day. But let's get far enough to be our souls to be content in you, so that we can turn to the functional, emotional, and life-changing needs of those in front of us. Let's order everything in our life that way, King Jesus. Give us your will and your vision to do it. That's what you did for us. We pray it in your name. Amen.